while we were happy to move ahead, it might be possible that we are going to maybe move backwards. So as Governor Newsom has repeatedly said, it is a toggle switch and not necessarily just a path forward, like a Candyland kind of path. So we want to invite our beloved ambassador, Austin Bertucci, who has been with us for 5 years, serving our downtown, cleaning up our streets, greeting our visitors, interacting with our businesses, and just generally being a joyful and happy face in our downtown. Anybody who knows Austin knows that Austin is an incredibly special human being, and we have been so privileged to have his completely infectious joy be with us. Infectious maybe isn't the best word to use during a pandemic, but Austin is a joyful, joyous person. And we are giving Austin our very sincere congratulations because he is leaving our organization to accept a job with the city of San Luis Obispo. He'll be working in the community development department. And this is a great opportunity for him and his family. He has 2 little ones and his lovely wife, Amanda. So we wanted to just let Austin come on and say a little bit about what his experience has been working in the last 5 years in the downtown and have a chance to say goodbye. So good morning, Austin. Are you there?
Good morning.
Hi, Austin.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
We're doing pretty well.
Can you hear me okay? My internet connection is pretty poor.
Okay, well, maybe we'll just keep you on the phone.
Yeah, I was going to say I can call in and use my phone to do that.
We can hear you just fine.
It might be better.
We've got a picture of you, and go ahead and you've got the floor.
Okay, I'm coming through okay?
Yes.
Yeah, just want to say thank you to everybody who's been a part of downtown and the city, and just been an amazing experience to get to know all the different patrons. And it's just a wonderful experience to get to know all the people downtown, because it's not just businesses, it's not just us as an organization, but it's everyone involved. And I think I've had some awesome mentors coming through here: Bettina, Dominic, Brent, all the different, Vera Ann, one of the other ambassadors that we've had, Michelle. We've had some amazing people that have been a part of this time. And so I just wanted to say thank you. Some of them who are not here, so I'll have to reach out to them. Just let them know, because I'm feeling this overwhelming sense of thanks. I know we didn't mention it, but last week I had an accident, and just feeling even more thankfulness, not only for everyone in my life, but for life in general. And just what a wonderful experience. You know, to serve you guys has been an immense blessing, an immense joy, something that has given my life a lot of meaning in these last 5 years. And so it's been a difficult decision, but ultimately one that I make with a joy, and also an aspect of thankfulness that I'm not leaving downtown entirely, which is pretty great. And so the place that I've come to call home is not going to be very far. So thanks to everybody, and look forward to seeing you guys around.
Thank you, Austin. Well said. And we appreciate you so much. And I know I speak for hundreds of business owners who have just really been touched by your compassion and your thoughtfulness over the years. So we know that you will not be a stranger, and we look forward to recruiting you in your downtime to come and volunteer with us occasionally in the future. And we're so glad that you are okay after your accident. And this is a little PSA to remind everybody, if you are on a bicycle, to please wear a helmet, because they do work. So thank you, Austin. And we hope to see you downtown soon, so that everybody can thank you in person. So many of you may be wondering, how on earth will you fill Austin's shoes? And the simple fact is, he is irreplaceable, because human beings are not cogs in wheels. But we do have a plan for providing some ambassador services in the downtown. And we are going to be bringing on 2 part-time ambassadors through a staffing agency. And so we'll have 2 employees who will be working 20 hours a week, doing the cleaning and ambassador duties that Austin has done. And we look forward to welcoming them this week. So you'll see some new faces wearing the ambassador hat and some gray shirts around town. One is named Jennifer and one is named Yadvir. So we'll introduce you to those folks soon. All right, with that, I'm going to invite our first guest, Lee Johnson with the City of San Luis Obispo. Good morning, Lee. How are you today?
Good morning, Bettina. Doing well. How about you?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, Rachel, do we have the data that we're going to go over today?
We do. Bettina, if you could progress to the next slide, we will be set up. Perfect.
Okay. So everyone, I think we showed this data probably a month ago or so. And I'll just go over these first. Well, if you can go to the one with 4 first, Bettina, I'll cover those first. So we're kind of tracking various data to see where we are while we wait for the kind of the better data, let's say, of like sales tax and all that kind of stuff that's more firm. So if you look, you can just see the unemployment claims continue to drop, and they spiked way back when, and now they just keep inching their way down. For unemployment rate by the geography, we continue to progress. We were a slow city behind the overall county for a while in our improvement, but now we're basically in exactly the same place for the last couple of months as the county is. Hotel occupancy, you can see that August was the first month that, or the closest we've been as far as August this year versus August last year in hitting the same occupancy rate. We're still behind where we need to be, but making improvements. If you look at the valuation under construction, that is like all of the projects that are currently in the process in San Luis Obispo. And you can see for the same period over the since 2016, for this year, we're actually still ahead of every year but 2019. And so we update this data as we get the numbers and depending on how often they come out and everything. If we go to the next one, which is pretty interesting stuff. Oh, the other way, for just downtown. This is, again, based on arrivalist data, which is the meta cell phone data that kind of tracks the cell phones that come to our region and where they go and what they do. So kind of takeaways here for the year-over-year information is that non-local visitation is up compared to August 2019. We had 34.7% more visits downtown, made by 43.4% more people, who also stayed 23 minutes longer. The downside of that is locals. We had less locals, like 12.7%, and their visits are about 27% shorter. Kind of the thinking around that is where we are now, like you see July and August, and even June, we're pretty much around the same visitor rates as far as locals and things. And that's really the capacity situation. Because we don't have concerts in the plaza, or we don't have slow rap, or we don't have other activities happening, and all of the restaurants and other things are cut back capacity-wise, there's only so much room for activity to take place, for people to do. And the shopping behaviors have changed a bit. People don't do as much shopping per se. It's more kind of hunting. They know what they want, they come down, get it, and go. But overall, we continue to, I think, have more visitors downtown than we anticipated or expected. And hopefully, as we progress through the stages, we can build that capacity back so we can get more people downtown. The other thing is you'll see that the visitation isn't necessarily turning into hotel stays. And so we will start, state of California has already been marketing, so is the county and the other cities. And SLO City will start doing a little bit more marketing all around safety and that kind of stuff. We're going to do a little bit more marketing as we progress here into the fall and get ready for the spring. So that's kind of it for me today. If anybody has any questions, always happy to answer them.
That's super interesting, Lee. Thanks for sharing this.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done any correlation with other data that's collected by the city, for example, sales tax or parking time stays?
Yeah, sales tax lags by more than like almost 6 months. So we don't, that's why we started doing some of this data. We only have sales tax data for the first quarter now. And basically all of the cities had like the 2 weeks of COVID there at the end of March. And so everybody was down except for Grover Beach, and that was pure cannabis year over year, kept them in the positive area for the first quarter. Parking wise, yeah, Gavin and his team, they have the data on the parking front. We're trying to get it into a way we can look at it in the same way as these graphs, so we can have trend lines for people to look at things. And then we're also looking at business license renewals to see if we can get some data out of that. But because that is like annual, one time a year and all those kind of things, it's a little difficult to see. But we're working to see if we can work with that data to get a little more information as we progress.
Great, that's really helpful. Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned Grover Beach and cannabis. Are you anticipating that because there's now cannabis sales in the city of SLO, that will help maybe offset some of the impacts from COVID-19?
That's the hope. I mean, it's, the more revenue generating activities we can have, the better. And like with cannabis, people from St. Louis were going to Grover Beach to buy cannabis. And now they don't have to make that trip, and that sales tax revenue and other revenue then goes to us to provide city services. So it works out well.
Great, thanks very much. I know another conversation that we have frequently about measuring economic activity in the downtown is trying to determine the actual vacancy rate in the properties. And so just so everybody else on the call knows, our board president, Pat Arnold, is working with some of the city staff and putting together a loose task force of some property owners who are going to get together so that we can hopefully really determine that number and have some real facts about what the actual vacancy rate is. And the reason it gets complicated sometimes is because if you look at the way vacancy rates are calculated, sometimes it's by square footage, which in other cities would include, many multi-story buildings. It can also just include the number of empty storefronts. So there's other work that needs to be done to really make sure that those figures are correct, and that work is going to be done. So thank you, Lee. Appreciate that. Yep. Anything else you wanted to add?
That's it for me today.
Great.
Oh, I won't be here next week, so you can
okay.
Not yell at me next week. Just kidding. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Lee. Up next, we have a little parking update from Gavin Hussey. Gavin, thanks for being with us this morning. How's it going in the parking land?
Parking land's good. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. We're getting pretty busy over here. So, our matrix for bringing back fees in the parking structure, we're probably going to wind up doing that on October 19th is what we're looking at right now. We'll have a new parking update out tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. So we're excited about that. Our garage capacity has been really good for the last couple of weeks, and we're excited to see people coming back downtown. So that's a good thing for everyone.
Great. And just to put you on the spot a little bit, do you have any update about the Pomnapomo parking structure?
So I do have a meeting 2 weeks out with finance to talk to them about where we're at and reassess. So we are in a better position than we had projected at supplemental. But I do believe we'll probably be about a year before we have that discussion on groundbreaking. We are moving forward and are completing all design elements on the structure. So that'll be ready to go as soon as we have a level of funds built back up to cover the bond.
Wonderful. Thank you for that update. And are you also on track to, I know there was a plan to replace some of the parking meters with multi-use pay stations. Is that on track? How's that going?
Yes. So our hope is to have the multi-space pay stations in the core beginning this winter. Our vendor has indicated that we are about a 10-week delivery time. So we already got our name in line, and we're holding our position firm. So I'm hoping around Christmas time we'll start seeing the new pay stations out and around. We're going to do a huge marketing campaign for that. So you'll see our staff out in the field helping people, and then we'll have some print and social media channels going out, so to advertise that we're bringing this to the downtown area. Mobile apps will be shortly behind that, so we're hoping to have mobile apps work in conjunction with that at the beginning of the new year is the hope for those, January or February.
Great. Okay, that'll be a nice upgrade for the downtown experience for sure. There's a question in the chat: are 10-hour parking meters now enforced?
Yes, so 10-hour meters are being enforced. We are issuing warnings for most violations out there. If there's repeat violations, they will be issued a citation. But this has been for the last couple of weeks. We have been enforcing those areas, and they've been pretty lenient in them, knowing that people are having difficulty with coin. That's probably been the largest complaint we heard. There's hard ability to get coin at this time, which we didn't factor in. So, some people are having a difficulty making those payments in coin at those 10-hour meters, but we're working through it. The 10-hour meter permits are available for sale, so quarterly and monthly. So you can make an appointment with our office and come down and purchase one of those.
I saw somebody tape a dollar bill to one of the meters last week, which I thought was an interesting creative choice.
Yeah, no. A coin shortage across the U.S. was not something we had planned for. So.
Fair enough. And one last question just about the structures. When they do go back to having a fee for use, what will be the grace period? I know before the pandemic, there was an hour grace period. What are you thinking?
Yep, so we're focusing on a 2-hour grace period right now. That was approved by council at supplemental. So we most likely will be bringing that back, and you and I have a discussion later this week, and those are the things we're going to iron through. But we believe a 2-hour window, free parking for everyone, should be able to accommodate most customer visits to the downtown area. So we still want to encourage that, revitalization of downtown. So hopefully the 2 hours covers it, and we can sort through it as the need arises.
That's great. Well, thanks for taking that into consideration. And I know there are some hair processes that do take longer than 2 hours, but that does seem that's a generous. When you get lots and lots of foils, I think that's when it really starts to get crazy. But we appreciate your thinking about that and putting the user and the customer experience first. Really appreciate it.
Happy to help.
Anything else, Gavin?
No, we're excited that we're getting back to normal levels. So that's always good for everyone that works and has business downtown. So
great. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a great one.
All right. Up next, we have Jim Dantsona with the SLO Chamber. How are you this morning, Jim? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Should know that trick by now. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. First, just real quick, want to say how sad we are, Austin, but happy for you, Austin. But from the entire Chamber team, we've appreciated everything you've done. You really are a special person in our downtown. We look forward to now getting you in community development. That should be fun. So starting real quick on the SLO Small Business Relief Fund. This was a partnership between the Chamber, the city, and the Community Foundation to award 52 $5,000 grants to businesses in our local community. So we have issued that. You may have seen a few of those news reports come out. And we're so glad, sadly, we had 400 applications. And so we were not obviously able to meet that, but we do have a good list now in case there is a second round, if there's more funding that comes in, that we should be able to help folks out with. Obviously, we wish we could give everybody part of this, but $260,000 that's been invested and given to our city. And hopefully if there are more, if the federal government does more, or if we find donors, we'll be doing even more through that list that we created. But it was really amazing. If you want to see some of the recipients and who they were, just go ahead and click on the link in the chat and, see who they were. It's been amazing to see how much they've appreciated and how much it's done to help a few businesses, more than a few, 52, make it that next step, which hopefully helps get them through this COVID crisis. Next, we have our California State Senate and Assembly Candidate Forum tonight. I will say, you may think somebody's missing off this list. Everybody was invited to this forum. And so tonight will be getting to meet, we will get a new senator in November. Election will give us a new senator. Senator Bill Monning is termed out. So if you haven't had a chance to meet John Laird and Vicki Nordgren, they will be attending. And then additionally, we will have a separate conversation with Assemblyman Cunningham as he runs for re-election. So you can click over on the link, and that will bring you over to register for tonight's event. It starts at 4:30. We're actually doing this in joint with our other neighbors, the South County Chamber, the Paso Chamber, and the Morro Bay Chamber, to talk about it, since obviously these are regional issues. Now we can go to the next one, which will be our working lunch, which is our Friday from 12 to 12:30 on Facebook Live at the SLO Chamber. We'll be doing our working lunch with Scott Yu, obviously Festival Mosaic music director, and his PBS show, Now Hear This, will be airing on Friday. Well, its new season kicked off this last week on Friday, but there will be the San Luis Obispo specific episode is this Friday. And so we'll be talking with him a little bit about why he got started with this, but also a little bit about that episode. And hopefully you'll tune in to see SLO in all of its glory as part of the Now Hear This show, PBS show from Scott Yu. And then kind of finally, we have the Chamber has posted and finished its voter guide for 2020. You can find a link to that in the chat. We go through, obviously, the local issues. We don't endorse candidates, specific candidates, so those will not be there. But in terms of propositions, issues, we have delved into the ones we felt were kind of most important to our business community and taken positions on those. You can find out why what we recommended and why we recommended it on that site. And obviously it delves into a lot of state propositions that are up there, and there's a lot of commercials. It's getting really noisy. So if there's any questions you have, feel free to check out that voter guide. And then also, if you want to ask us questions on where we are with those things, more than happy to discuss those too, including the SLO city measure, Measure G. So looking forward to obviously a busy month of October, and appreciate all the help that Downtown SLO has given us.
Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate that. I know there was a mayoral candidate forum and also a city council forum, and that was a ticketed event, but is there a way that you can watch those if you didn't have a chance to attend?
Yeah, if you go to our slochamber.org, just go to our elections page. We have the opening statements from both of those and from all of those events. And additionally, we have the guide, the questionnaire that they filled out there to discuss some of the biggest issues and with all the candidates. Some of the candidates weren't able to attend the forums, so you can read up on some of those folks who didn't make it on the elections page, on our SLO Chamber elections page, where all of that is, the videos. It's also on our YouTube channel. Any of those ways are to access those videos and
Great.
questionnaires.
Great. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Anything else?
Does it for me today.
Okay, excellent. Well, happy end of September to you.
Same to you.
All right, and up next we have Courtney Kino from Cal Poly. How are you, Courtney?
Good, thanks. Good morning. As Bettina mentioned at the beginning of the call, today is the start of week 3 of classes at Cal Poly. And I thought I'd start out with the numbers today, which are updated on the same schedule as the county. So they don't update over the weekend, but as of Friday, we have 102 students who've tested positive for COVID-19 since early July. 12 students are currently in isolation on campus, and 15 are in quarantine, and 135 are in quarantine in place. And I'm really grateful to Cynthia Lambert for stepping in for me last week. I know that she explained what quarantine in place means, so I won't go into that further today unless anyone has questions, and then I can. Since she provided the update last week, there's been a few changes that have taken place, or updates, I should say. Maybe the most important is the one that Rachel mentioned earlier in the call, which was the shift from the county being in the purple or widespread category to the red substantial category. President Armstrong shared with campus on Thursday that while this is great news for everyone, especially local businesses that have been really hit hard by the pandemic shutdown, it does not mean that the danger is past. We tried really hard to reinforce with students that this doesn't mean we can relax the use of PPE, social distancing, hand washing, and the ban on social gatherings. So we're doubling down on our safety communications. Another big change, the university is expanding asymptomatic testing in two big ways. The first being the lab at the Campus Health and Wellbeing, which is like our campus mini hospital or medical center, is working to be able to do pooled sampling, which will increase capacity dramatically. So now we can do about 1,000 people per week, and it'll shift to 2,500 per week. And then we're also starting to look at external contractors to further supplement capacity. So that would bump us up even more to 3,000 or up to 5,000 tests per week, which is obviously really significant. Our surveillance goals for this fall quarter that we're currently in are 1,000 tests per week for these next 2 weeks, and then ramping up to 2,500 to 3,500, and then to 5,000 per week. We are going to test on-campus students at least 5 times over fall quarter. And then we have certain groups, athletes and wind ensemble, and some others who will be tested on a different schedule because of their close interaction. Cal Poly experts are also working to develop a high throughput saliva-based surveillance test. I wonder if you all have heard about that, but again, that would decrease cost and expand even further our ability to test potentially thousands a day. We're expecting or hoping that that can launch in winter 2021. And then that was a big one. The second one is that we're assessing the feasibility of wastewater analysis for early detection. You all may have heard of those efforts as well in other places. I'm happy to explain that one further as well. It would require talking about fecal matter and literally going upstream. So hopefully no one's eating breakfast if we go there. And I've shared with you in the past that some other measures were requiring students who have classes on campus or are visiting campus for any reason to do a daily symptom track screener. And I know questions have come up a few times about how we're communicating with students living off campus, and just continuing to send strong messages about how important it is to abide by public health guidelines. As always, I will continue to point you to our main webpage for the latest Cal Poly information. That's coronavirus.calpoly.edu. And from there, there's a link to our dashboard with detailed statistics, which are updated at about noon, Monday through Friday. And then a final note, we really are working hard to keep our ear to the ground about what's happening around town. And so my ask of you all today is that as you hear things, see things, have an increased presence in your business of Cal Poly populations, that you hopefully feel really free to reach out to me anytime with concerns or things positive that are happening. It really helps. I'm a direct communicator to our cabinet, and so the more we know, the better we can do, and you all are a big part of that. That's my update. Thanks so much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Courtney. Yeah, I will share some observations that we received over the last week, just from some behaviors, and I do believe that some students are really trying to do the best thing. I'm curious if there's been any policy around the Greek life housing taking place off campus.
Yes, yeah. So they they have different requirements that we have for them, different policies. They have their own governing body. They are not allowed to gather for any reason. And they have a whole set of specific policies for them. As I mentioned, we are doing the 5 tests for anyone living on campus through the fall quarter. If Greek life students do not have on-campus classes or reasons to visit campus, we cannot require them to do that testing. However, we have reached out to all of them and asked them to participate voluntarily. And we have strong communications going out with them from their peers as well. The presidents of the chapters and others, our vice president of student affairs, staying in close communications with them.
Okay, great. Well, we know it's a complicated situation, so thanks for keeping us up to date. And we'll look at that dashboard, which is in the chat if you want to take a look at that. Thanks, Courtney. Anybody have any questions for Courtney? Okay, we will move right along. Our next guest this morning is from SLOCOG, and we actually learned about this exciting new program at Good Morning SLO last week, so thanks for that, Jim. And we'd like to invite James with SLOCOG now to give a little presentation about, oh, there you are. Hello, hi James.
Hello,
Thanks
how's
for
everybody?
being here today.
Hope everybody's doing great. Thank you for letting me join you to talk about the Coast Rail Corridor Study. I'm James Worthley. I'm the Planning Division Chief with the San Luis Obispo Council of Governments, or SLOCOG. And SLOCOG and the Coast Rail Coordinating Council are conducting an important study to plan for the future of rail on the Central Coast. As our region and the rest of the state continues to grow, it's important for our region to continue making strides to achieve a multimodal transportation system. And that includes a reliable rail option that seamlessly links to our bus systems, providing both residents and tourists with options for getting to work, school, the beach, or wherever. To explain our study in the simplest terms, we have 2 areas of focus. One will coordinate intercity bus and rail service so that long distance travel through the Central Coast area is more seamless and provides better options for connecting through the state. And the other will look at whether implementing a regional rail system in San Luis Obispo County and northern Santa Barbara County is feasible. A couple of notes before we go forward. You may hear the term regional rail or commuter rail used interchangeably. Often folks get confused with the word commuter, thinking that the service would only serve during peak hour times. This isn't necessarily the case, so we're starting to use the term regional rail to remove that barrier. Also, the term intercity refers to existing Amtrak services like the Coast Starlight and the Pacific Surfliner. So that's the type of rail we're talking about when I mention intercity. For the intercity rail and bus part of the study, we are examining the area between Salinas and Goleta and developing a phased implementation plan for achieving as much service as the state envisioned in their 2018 state rail plan. Today, there's just one long distance train that goes through the entire study corridor, and that's the Coast Starlight. It goes between LA and Seattle. This service is just one trip each direction each day. And the Pacific Surfliner service, which travels from San Diego to San Luis Obispo, runs 3 trips to and from SLO each day. By 2027, the state rail plan hopes to achieve 1 additional train trip north of San Luis Obispo and 1 additional trip south. By 2040, the plan envisions adding 3 more trains going north from SLO and 5 more trains heading south. Now, the rail service levels that we just talked about will be supplemented with intercity bus connections so that by 2027, there will be either an intercity train or intercity bus every 2 hours. And by 2040, the goal is to provide service either by rail or bus every hour. Now, the second focus of our study, the regional rail analysis, is quite significant because commuter rail hasn't been studied on the Central Coast in 28 years. The study area for this part of the effort is between Paso Robles and Santa Maria, and will include a thorough evaluation of alternative technologies, service levels, and schedule options. How much rail infrastructure and equipment will be needed to accomplish the services identified, and potential funding sources. This effort will coordinate with the intercity efforts talked about earlier, as well as local bus service and other multimodal connections. Now, you may be asking yourself, this is great, but how can I learn more? Well, I have good news. We have a number of ways for you to engage with our study, and we encourage you to take the time to participate in one or all of them. Tina, you might be able to pop up a slide, or I can send the information through the chat, but you can check out our website, coastrailstudy.com. That's all one word, coastrailstudy.com, to learn more about our study. You'll find a fact sheet, background information, presentations, preliminary documents, and you can find opportunities to engage further, like through our survey that's open right now, or our upcoming virtual public meeting that is this Wednesday, September 30th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And I will share some additional helpful links there in the chat right after I finish presenting. If you would like to get involved on a deeper level, you can reach out to Anna Devers, the project manager at SLOCOG, to get involved in the studies community working group. Her email is adevers, that's ADEVERS @slocog.org. Thanks for letting me share our study with you. We hope that you'll join us in the virtual public meeting on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. And don't forget to take the survey and share your input. It's open until Friday this week. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, James. Really interesting to think about how, as we begin to attract maybe more people from urban areas who are going to realize they can work from anywhere because of the accelerated change and that the pandemic has brought about, we might have some actual train commuting happening. And can you remind me, what would be sort of I know you're in a study mode right now, but this would be by 2040? Is that what you said?
So we're looking out as far as 2040. That's correct.
Okay. And would the announcement from Governor Newsom last week about ceasing the sales of gas-powered vehicles by 2035, does that accelerate your planning at all, or?
Right now, it's all based on the state rail plan expectations, and that plan was actually developed and adopted in 2018. So I think they're all rolling together in that same direction of, well, how can people move better, faster, and in more directions and more opportunities? Okay,
great. Well, thank you for that. I'll try to attend that meeting on Wednesday, and thanks for putting those links up in the chat. Really interesting to think about. I encourage everyone to put their brains into that. That's great. Okay, and let's see here. Up next, I just wanted to share with everybody that in addition to coordinating these weekly calls, being available for our businesses if they have questions, trying to interpret the changing guidelines as they come down every week, we're also looking ahead to expand and create new opportunities to provide better marketing for your businesses downtown. And one of the ways that we've identified that we can do a better job is through our website. Excuse me. Our website was developed in 2017, and now it's 2020. So in internet time, that means that it's pretty antiquated and time for an update. So we did a pretty robust research project to find a company that is going to be developing a new website for us. And we discovered an amazing company that is only dedicated to producing websites for downtown districts. They have more than 40 districts that they partner with all over the country. And we're going to be working with them. They're called City Lights. We're going to be working with them to launch a new website for downtown SLO, which is going to be really exciting for us. And mostly because we just have had such a challenge with our current website and the way that it exists, but because we're going to have some new features available for that too. So Our goal with this website is that it will go live November 1st. And next week we'll have Whitney Cheney, who is our farmers market manager turned IT director, who's going to be leading the charge on our new website design, and she can give you some more information about that website. But just wanted to plant that seed a little bit and let you know about what we're planning going forward for you. Let's see here, we are at 10:45. There's been a lot of information on the call so much today, and we've got about 37 people here on the call. Really appreciate you all being here today. I'm sorry, I have lost my screen. Oh dear. Sorry, everybody. One of the projects that we've been working on is a very exciting raffle for our Friends of Downtown, and some of our board members have been working hard to create some fantastic prizes in a fundraising raffle that we'll be doing, and those tickets are going to go on sale October 1st. Our fundraising goal is to raise $15,000 for the Friends of Downtown SLO, and those efforts will go toward making downtown more clean, safe, and beautiful. So we have some fantastic prizes from the businesses listed here, and we're out collecting more. So if you have an idea for a prize, let us know. We'd be happy to collect a prize from you and also to sell you a ticket. So more about that coming soon. We continue to partner with the city on the Downtown SLO Downtown Dine Out program in Mission Plaza. And let's talk a little bit about the Downtown Cleanup Day. So coming up 2 weeks from today, October 10th, so 10/10/2020, we are inviting members who are interested, people who live downtown, people who care about downtown, to come in, pitch in for a couple of hours that Saturday morning. We will provide equipment for you, including trash bags and gloves to keep yourself safe. And our effort is really to make sure that downtown is even shinier and sparklier than it is normally as we go into the holiday season, which I can guarantee you will start sooner this year. A lot of our retailers are talking about starting to decorate in October, so be prepared for that. And we have partnered with SLO Veg, so a reminder that you can order ahead for pickup of fresh produce every Thursday in our office. It's a fantastic box of fresh produce from a variety of local farmers. So while you're missing the farmer's market, you can still get your fresh veggies downtown. If you order at slowveg.com and pick Downtown SLO as your pickup location, you can come visit us, say hello, and get your information, or get your veggies and fruits on Thursday afternoon. We are continuing to reach out to our patrons, our cohort through the International Downtown Association and Main Street America. They are letting us know about different grant opportunities and exciting activations that are happening in communities and downtowns across the country. So we really are in this together, and it is so helpful for us to connect with our thought leaders, and we hope that you can, continue to reach out to us to be the resource that you would like us to be, and that we will be. So looking especially to some of those lighting activations that are going to come into the downtown for the holiday season. So with that, let's move into our polls. Rachel, can you go ahead and launch the polls for today? So as of today, September 28th, as we wrap up the month of September, what is your level of confidence for the economic well-being of downtown in general? Answers are coming in fast and furious. And you can see here the way that the graph has been working since we've been doing these for the last 2 months, a little bit all over the map. I'm delighted to see that so many of you are not very pessimistic. In fact, more of you right now are saying that you're somewhat optimistic. I've got 21 of 31 who have voted so far. We'll give you about 5 more seconds with which to place your vote, and then we'll go ahead and end this and share it. Okay, last chance. And excuse me. I did get tested for COVID, and I was negative on Tuesday. I think I'm just talking too much this morning. Excuse me. And let's go ahead to the next poll. What is the biggest challenge facing your business today? I hope that the information that Lee Johnson shared with you about arrivalist data and people spending time downtown, coming to downtown was helpful. It looks like it continues to be the above the fold sort of answer is that we are uncertain about consumer confidence. Totally makes sense. That is something that we just don't understand. This is a national moment of economic uncertainty, and we're of course heading toward an election. So there's a lot going on right now. I've got about 18 of you who voted so far, and we'll just give you about 4 or 5 more seconds to tick that box in the poll screen. For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, if you tune into our Zoom, you can participate in the poll. Otherwise, sorry about that. And there you see, uncertain consumer confidence is by far the biggest thing that you're concerned about and the biggest challenge facing your business today. So thank you so much for being here today. You've been pretty good about putting some questions into the chat box. If there are any other questions, please let us know. We'd love to have you volunteer for our Downtown SLO Cleanup Day. That'll be on October 10th. So coming up pretty soon here. And we would just love to hear from you. If you have any questions, you can always email us at reachus@downtownslo.com or find us on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you have a great week. It is 10:51. Go out, be well, have a great week, and keep your head up.